Welcome to the Undrafted Armchair Quarterbacks. We're Jim and Joe, lifelong friends, lifelong fans, bringing you fan-driven sports talk the way real fans do. No overpaid experts, no scripted analysis, just honest takes on the game's players and the big stories shaping sports right now.
And we want you to be a part of it too. Drop your comments, questions, and takes. We'll read them all. We'll bring them into future shows like today's. So please hit like, subscribe, and join our conversation every week for free. Follow us on YouTube and Spotify, and also follow us on Instagram and TikTok. And hey, Joe, what's up?
Good morning. Wow, that list you just mentioned is long. Wow, people can watch us, follow us everywhere, really. I mean, is there anything left? I guess we'll have to investigate. I'm doing great. It is Thursday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
I've had enough time to recover from Monday night. We will talk about that. And you and I were just talking, the world of sports, we could literally spend 30 minutes talking about any sport in the world. I mean, cricket, badminton if we wanted to, but unfortunately we have a limited amount of time. But one big major sporting event is right around the corner. Unless you live under a rock, the Olympics. The Winter Olympics are on their way. They're just around the corner. And so you and I agreed, I think it'd be nice to kind of, maybe bring up a quick story, something interesting about the Olympics, whether it's the U.S. team or just something overall, to kind of get us all ready.
And you've got a really good one. I can't wait to talk about this.
Well, it caught my attention, that's for sure. And listen, everybody, whether it's the Summer or Winter Olympics, I think for me, on a scale of 1 to 10, I don't love every sport the same. I mean, overall, I still love the Olympics. I know over the years there's been this and that and, reasons to be discouraged or frustrated with some of the things, the politics and things like that. However, as you break it down to the sports themselves, some people love ice skating. I really don't. But one thing I think I really do love in the winter is the long jump, the ski jump, the big ramp, the agony of defeat. And I was reading about the Norwegian ski jump team. Norway handles, for them, ski jump. It's like baseball, what the Yankees is to baseball. In the United States, it's what the NFL football is to Americans. Ski jump to the Norwegians is massive. The Norwegian ski jump team was caught manipulating their ski jump uniforms. Those tight, skin-tight material they have to wear. I had no idea until I caught wind of this and I started looking into it. The ski jump team, these suits they are like 3D X-rayed. They have to conform to really strict guidelines. There can't be more than 4 centimeters of play away from the skin in any area, and they're microchipped. Men's have 7 microchips ironed into the suit. Women's have 5. The Norwegian ski team, the manager, the captain, the head coach, they were caught on film cutting out areas of the crotch and re-sewing in a little bit more material, some stiffer material, and re-sewing it back in, and doing this in such a way that it was undetectable, even by the microchips, which, if tampered with, would deactivate or like set off an alarm. As a matter of fact, I didn't know, but as the skier is approaching the top of the jump, they're scanned to make sure all those microchips are working and haven't been tampered with. Well, they were pulling it off. It's unbelievable. Who cares, by the way? Well, a lot of people do that are in that competition, because if you add, they estimate by adding just a small amount of material where they were adding it in the crotch, that little 4 centimeter of material could add 1 to 2 meters of distance because of the aerodynamics being affected. I mean, it's unbelievable.
And you just said something that's really funny. It caught wind of this story, and you're going down, you're jumping and you're soaring down the hill and you're singing Christopher Cross. I'm sailing, take me away.
Yeah,
about 1
a
or
little
2
farther
meters
than my competition. Yeah,
and I go 1 or 2 meters farther and I get the gold.
Yes. Well, listen, to be honest with you, I was trying to fly through this little segment. I'm getting us ready for the Olympics, but it's just crazy when you think about it. I mean, literally, they got sensors everywhere. They're cutting it through. They're putting in a little piece of material. Literally, it's like a 4 centimeter piece, and that much extending the crotch makes a huge difference because we were talking about this thing. Every meter you get 1.8 points for it. So first gold is separated from fifth place by literally, a few meters, and so it matters to them. The skiers themselves only got a 3 month suspension, so they're in the Olympics. But the head coach, the equipment guy, they're out for 18 months or something. Their defense in closing was, "Hey, everyone does it." That was their defense. Not we didn't do it. Now maybe the video helped them figure that out. But yeah, so as we get ready for the Olympics, these are the kind of stories that we're going to bring to you to keep your interest and perk your interest up a little bit more.
Looking forward to it. That's a great story.
Yes, thank you. Me
You
too.
ain't cheating. You ain't trying.
Whoever said that was right.
Everybody.
Yeah, everybody. Exactly. Yeah, we'll talk about more scandals as they come up. I'm sure there's a bunch. Remember it used to just be doping. Now you're putting in elastic material to make your crotch longer. Hey, maybe they started doing this because I don't know they had dates or something. I don't know. It's kind of a weird story, guys. What a great
Now,
place to put it. Who's got to look?
yep. And now we can go soaring into our next subject.
Love it. Good one. Great segue. Love the way you did that. Don't get out over your skis, man.
Okay, thank you.
Well, what is the next subject? It's my heartbreak from Monday night. The next subject is the CFP Championship. I'll start with this. Everybody I have spoken with said it was a good game. So as far as a watching football, it was a good game, especially the second half, obviously.
Edge of the seat. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me? That
Yeah.
kind of game, I'll bet you a lot of people were up pacing, and I'm sure you may have been.
Well, I was. To be honest with you, we could never catch up. We were always 7-10, 7-10. I mean, I love the way Miami represented themselves. I love the way they kept it close. I love the way they kept coming back every time
Yeah.
Indiana or Mendoza would do something spectacular. Miami came back and responded down to the last series, having the ball down by 6 with a chance to win the game with an extra point, touchdown, extra point. Yeah. What else can you ask for?
That's a great point there too, because after that iconic play, and it was iconic when Fernando dove into the end zone after breaking a couple tackles, that was a fourth down play too.
It
I
was.
mean, how much more drama can you ask for there? I believe the very next drive, Miami drove 91 yards and scored a touchdown, if I'm not
Yep.
mistaken.
Yeah.
And that right there, it was compelling. It was just like this, they're not going away.
Yeah. And then they held Indiana to a field goal on the next series. And then, of course, the rest is history. On that series that Indiana scored, that fourth down play, I think from the 12-yard line, Mendoza proved his toughness. For one reason, one of the tackles he broke at the goal line might have been a little too late, anyways, but was from Miami's linebacker who really gave him a shot into the ribs.
Yeah.
And, he got up and got a shot to the mouth earlier, which was a controversial helmet to the face mask hit. I think that was uncalled for.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, you can't. The only thing you can say, well, you can say a lot. One of the things you can say about Mendoza is, man, that guy is tough. I mean, he is a tough competitor. He's big too. I mean, I think he's like 6'4", 220. I mean,
I think I looked it up just yesterday, 6'5".
yeah.
Yeah.
I know, and I don't know why I perceive him as maybe it was because Miami did play Cal last year. I don't know if you remember that game that Miami was
Yes.
down like 35-3, came back and won it 38-35. That was a crazy game too. Uh, but anyways, I just remember him being kind of skinny, but he's not, man. Great leader, great guy in the clubhouse. Sad to be his brother. The backup quarterback is his brother Alberto, who also went to Columbus, who's the backup quarterback. Mendoza wins the Heisman. And Signetti says, thank you very much, Mendoza family. We love you. Thank you for the trophy. But we're going to bring in a portal quarterback by Alberto. So I feel sorry for, his brother, who's probably going to Georgia Tech. But what are you going to do?
We're shocked on that one. We'll
Yeah.
keep our eye. We'll keep our
Yeah.
eye
I
on the
mean,
portal.
yeah, Alberto, no offense, not cut from the same cloth, but not nearly the same kind of quarterback. But, back to the game, I can tell you no excuses. Literally, Indiana won this game. There's no question about it. Um, they made the plays when they needed to make the plays on that final drive. There were 2 fourth down conversions, for example, both over 5 yards or 5 or more. Um, Miami was, 0 for 8 on third downs in the whole first half. We got behind the 8 ball quickly offensively. Kudos to Indiana's defense, but you got to convert some third downs. I think we gave up, on the run a little bit too early. But Miami finished 3 for 11 on third downs. A blocked punt for a touchdown. Malachi Tony is arguably the best, one of the top 5 in the country, probably the best in the country. Jeremiah Smith would argue that next year. Had a great game, 10 catches for 112, I believe. But fielding that punt on the 5-yard line kind of put Miami in the hole. 3 throws, 3 and out, and then the block punt. That was a big momentum changer because, not only numbers and score, but emotions.
It's got to be the toughest way to explain a loss, too, because it was just a swing of just a few plays there. And then the special teams not blocking and letting Kamara get in there, get his left arm up and block the punt. And then, boom, they were right there to recover it for a touchdown. It was like, oh, boy, special teams.
Yep. No,
National
it happened.
championship game, not blocking that guy as he's coming in is like, whoa, what are you guys
Two,
doing?
two whips.
Two,
The right end of the line didn't even chip him, and then Alex Bowman, who's a senior transfer from Tulane, has had a good year, and hate to throw it on that one kid in that one play, but
yeah,
obviously completely blew the block, and the rest is history on that. Uh, Listen, at the end of the day, these kind of games can come down to 1 or 2 or 3 plays. The pick by Beck, the ball was underthrown. I will say this,
yeah,
not defending Beck. He's had a great year for Miami. He's done what you're supposed to do. Do you know how hard it is to come into Miami and follow Cam Ward?
yep,
Obviously, a generational talent who, by the way, his style of play was completely different than Carson Beck's. So it's not fair that the expectations on Carson Beck were to play or produce those kind of numbers or even excitement. But he's been pretty good, especially in the playoffs. But that throw was a bad decision. Now I am going to defend him a little bit. He didn't defend himself, but I will. 2 plays before that, you may not remember, but he got wrecked. He he was roughed, roughing the passer penalty. That's what moved Miami, up into Indiana territory. And so I'm not 100% sure. He was kind of all there those last few plays. I'm sure his head was spinning for a lot of reasons, including the pressure. 44 seconds left. Probably tried to do too much. Um, you're right. The game comes down to just a couple of plays here and there, and a doinked field goal. What happened to our field goal kicker, man? I mean, regular season, the guy was money. And then ever since Texas A&M game, wow. Let me just throw. We're not stats all the way, but these are kind of important. Miami only rushed for 21 times. Indiana for 45. Indiana doubled Miami's rushing attempts. So what? Well, they live off the run. They run to throw. And they were never down more than 10 points in this game. So part of my point, why Indiana stopping the run? Yeah, when you run up the middle, pretty predictable, especially with, my comments about Adrian Fisher. I mean, he's pretty good at knowing what you're going to do. So I don't know. I think they could have brought in Pringle. They could have ran it wide more. They could have used jet sweeps, just something, because that's bad. And then, of course, time of possession, man, 23 minutes to Miami, 36 to Indiana. That's just not going to work. Recipe for disaster.
and we did talk about that before. Is just it's special teams and not being able to run the ball was I believe, the demise.
Yep. Yep.
Unfortunately for Miami, for you guys. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, and, I'm not going to, harp on, turnovers. Obviously, we only had one, which is great. But, man, the penalties, that's another thing.
Yeah.
7 penalties, and it wasn't the penalties again, it's when they happened and what they were. We gave them, I think it was 3 first downs, or that may not be true. We gave them 3 third down penalties, though, that either made it much easier to get the first down or actually gave them a first down. You can't make those mistakes. In spite of all of that, Miami had the ball in their hands with a minute 50 to go to drive down the field and score, kick the extra point, and win this game. So, hey, you, that's pretty dang good. And the run Miami made to the playoffs with having to beat A&M on the road, and then Ohio State, and then Ole Miss to get to this game. Great season. I'm looking forward to next year.
Yep.
Hopefully, we just reload.
Hold your head up. That's all you got to sing, man. Hold your head up. That was a great season for the
Yep.
Hurricanes. There,
Yep.
before the show, you asked me if someone would have told you that Miami was going to play for the national championship against Indiana, what would you have said?
Impossible. We got a long way to go, and I'm not sure if I would be referring to Miami or Indiana at that point. But it. How about the Sharp story? So,
Yeah,
for those, a lot of people probably know this, but the DB who picked off Beck to seal the win for Indiana, that's his last name is Sharp. Let me
yeah,
see, Jamari Sharp.
yeah.
Well, back in 2003, people may remember Ohio State Miami played for the national championship, and there was a very controversial pass interference call
It was
in the end
terrible.
zone. Most people, I'm not going to say even Ohio State fans, but even Ohio State fans I know that was, should have been a no call. But nonetheless, that handed Ohio State the national championship. That DB for Miami involved in that controversial play, guess what? That was Jamari's uncle. You can't make it up. Glenn Sharp played for Miami. So 23 years later, the nephew of that Miami DB catches Beck's intercepts Beck to seal the deal for Indiana. Wow. Can't make it up.
No,
It's
that's
unbelievable.
it still blows my mind thinking about that. Um, that was crazy. Miss the Sharp family, all praise to you.
Okay.
It wasn't
Um,
his fault on the interception against Ohio State. I mean, on the pass interference against Ohio State, and you know, Jamari just did what he was supposed to do.
hey, great.
He picked off an
His social
underthrown
media says
pass.
that, hey, see, Miami should have recruited me. Well, I kind of look at it like that. That'd be like saying in front of my wife, wow, I wish I chose a different career or whatever, and I would have never met you. Like, hey, you'd have never been in that position to pick off a pass and give it in a championship. No, you don't. You're in the right place where you're supposed to be. So
Yeah,
take that, Jamari. That's where you should be talking about. Not, Miami should have recruited you. Well, if they did, who knows? You may not have had that opportunity. So, anyways, hey, listen, great season of football. I mean, I think other than a couple of, Notre Dame and a couple of little controversies here and there, and, the NIL mess and the transfer portal, you know, aside from the problems that the, college football needs to fix, it was a great season.
yeah, I enjoyed it. I
Yeah,
enjoyed
me
it.
too. Well, let's move on to the other football that we love to talk about. That's the NFL.
Yes, sir. And I was just thinking about this when we were talking about the Norwegian team and their outfits and the scrutiny they've been through. Matthew Stafford wore a scuba suit underneath his uniform, underneath the pads and everything to deal with that cold. And that
Mm,
story came out this week. And plus, the other story is they put cayenne peppers in their socks. And all I gotta say is the scuba suit. I can see that. You got to stay warm when it's 5
yeah,
degrees out.
yeah,
Wind chill, maybe even less than that. But cayenne peppers in the socks. I just want to say, thank God that your feet don't have taste buds.
yeah.
It'd be
I mean,
horrible.
well, you know what? Maybe they'll create like a hot new trend by doing that. I don't know. I mean, does it make you run faster? I mean, did the NFL do any research to see if, I don't know, maybe it increases blood flow and, it might become illegal to do that.
Man, more scrutiny. That's all we need.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Maybe that's more than just keeping your feet warm. I did not realize putting cayenne pepper in your socks or on your hands or anywhere on your body. I understand in your mouth, yes, it can heat you up. I did not realize putting it on your feet, for example, would make you feel warmer. But it makes sense. I mean, I do know. Just I don't know how I know, but the the absorption of things through the soles of your feet is very even more so than your skin, like on your arm, for example. So I remember when you're like, if you're a baby, rubbing mentholatum on your baby's feet was supposed to help with their,
Yeah.
congestion and all
Yeah.
that. So, hey, maybe. I will tell you this: when I did hear, and we were talking about Stafford putting on the suit, even if it was the highest tech scuba suit in the world, because the ones I used to wear in Miami and California, were like straight jackets, but I'm watching these quarterbacks, all the players, but when they show them getting ready in the locker room and all that, it takes, 5 minutes to get your shoulder pads and shirt over your head because they're so, dang tight these days. Then they got these leather belts they're having to strap around their ribs for their padding. And then, now you got a suit on underneath that. And I don't even know how they can throw with that kind of just restrict. I mean, if I have like a light sweater vest on playing golf, I hit one bad shot. I'm like, damn it, stupid sweater. I'm so restricted. Meanwhile, they're having to throw like 45-yard, rifle shots with all this crap on. Wow, I don't know how they do it.
Yeah. Well, at least the Rams going to Seattle. Maybe it'll just be raining and somewhat cold. I haven't seen
Hey,
anything. It's just it's always
no,
raining there. What point am I
well,
trying to make?
no,
It
and
seems
it's
like it.
it's
But
always moderate. I mean, I've been there several times. I mean, it's in the 50s. I mean, I'm sure it's in the 80s or 70s sometimes, but this time of year, the good news is the Pacific Ocean being really cold also keeps it from getting too cold. So, I
yeah.
think it'll be fine.
Yeah, the weather's going to be a lot worse towards where you are this
Yeah,
weekend.
no, yeah, storm of the century, another one.
Yeah. Every 4 years we have a storm of the
Yeah, every
century.
2 years, it's the storm of the century.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of the storm, we're going to talk about the Rams in Seattle. Like to just off the top of my head, I'm just thinking right now again. Boy, I sure blew it picking the 49ers last week over
Yeah,
Seattle at home is a huge thing, but is Matthew Stafford, I don't care if he's got his scuba gear on again or not, is his experience, his pedigree going to be the difference in this game? What do you think Matthew Stafford can actually go into Seattle and pull this game off?
yes,
You
because
do.
Matthew Stafford is arguably playing some of the best football of his career.
Yeah.
I mean, he's averaging 2.7 touchdowns per game over his last 12 starts. Um, so yeah, he can absolutely do it. And Nakua, by the way, has had excellent games against Seattle. In their last meeting, Nakua had 12 catches for 255 yards. Let me say that again. In their last game, 125 yards receiving for Nakua. So the vaunted Seattle defense, they had a little bit of a kink in their armor. So if Nakua can come close to that, that'll help.
Yeah. And plus they've got Devontae Adams, you know, Stafford's
Yep.
got the weapons.
Yeah.
Williams at running back, and the Rams defense is no slouch as well. But I think I just like Stafford and the Rams in this ball game.
Um, you're not alone. I will say this this is kind of an interesting dynamic. It's the number one scoring defense against the number one scoring offense. That's pretty good. This hasn't been the Rams in the last, two games, but in the last two games, Seattle has not allowed a touchdown.
Yeah,
I mean, that is crazy. Here's a little caveat that might make a difference too. Seattle is sitting around their last game 7 days ago, and it was a blowout win. So let's face it, uh, didn't have to throw the kitchen sink out there. Where the Rams 6 days ago had a brutal matchup against the Chicago Bears. So, hey, when you're only looking at 6 days versus 7 days, that's 24 hours. That's like a greater than 10% based on my 7 years of high school math that the Bears have like a 15% better rest. Excuse me, not the Bears, the Seahawks. So, I mean, that might come into play third,
And it
fourth
was
quarter.
and it was an overtime game at that 6 days
Right,
ago.
right,
Yeah.
100%. So yeah, I
So
mean, we'll see. Let's pick. I'm ready to pick if you are.
yes, I am. I'm thank you. I'll go first. I am going to take the Rams, and I predict that the Rams will beat them 28-20. And I think the Seahawks are going to be affected. This is why I'm not going with the Seahawks. But when they lost Joe Charbonnet to a knee injury, speaking of blowouts, he
Good
blew
point.
out his knee.
Good point.
All the best to him recovering. But I've got the Rams because of the Stafford effect.
Yes.
28-20.
Good point. And I'll be honest with you. After watching the Rams play in the cold, and that was very cold. Other than the last drive and a couple of early drives, Stafford didn't look awesome. He's
No,
admitted he doesn't like throwing in the rain or the cold. It's going to be around 40 degrees in Seattle for this game. But Darnold, he has had horrific games against the Rams this season. In two divisional matchups against the Rams, he's thrown 6 picks. So he's going to have to take care of the ball a lot better than that. So I don't like what I'm about to say, but I'm going to go with the Seahawks, and I think they win this game 20-17.
because they're going to make their adjustments and make sure that Darnold protects the ball. But you're going to have Kenny Walker get those rushing yards. And I think the Rams are going to key on him. I respect that pick, though. That defense of Seattle's could make you tell me on our next episode, I told you so. The
Yep.
Seahawks got him. So,
Yep. Well, let's we'll see what happens. The other great game is the Pats and Broncos.
yeah, the New England Patriots. The job that Mike Vrabel has done, he has just brought that whole Belichick era of defense, control the ball on offense. But of course, he was helped out a lot by a lot of big free agent signings in the offseason, and they've drafted a really good, smart quarterback in Drake May. Okay, that's about all I want to say about New England because I'm trying to listen, and plus you're counseling me when we're not doing our shows of not picking a team I hate to win. But I just
Only
don't
for your
like the hate.
fans. Only because your fans are really having a hard time with it.
I'm a diehard Dolphins fan. I'm not ready for a new Patriots dynasty, which is what it's starting to look like it's going to be. And I'm just saying, hold on, not so fast. I'm going to pick Denver to hold off this Patriots dynasty for hopefully another year. And it's because Jared Stidham, and you mentioned this in the last show, that Sean Payton is going to have something. If you can get Jared Stidham out there in the flats, roll him out, let him survey the field. The guy's a good athlete. He can take off running too, but he needs to improve his career 2.7-yard rushing average. But he's a 59% completion percentage passer as far as his accuracy. Denver's got a great defense. They've got to have something drawn up for Drake May and company. So I'm going to take the Broncos at home, and I'm going to predict the score to be – this is going to be a low-scoring game because I do respect the Patriots defense too. I'm going to say 17-14, close one.
Sounds reasonable to me. New England is 0 for 4 all time in Denver in the playoffs. The Patriots, they got 39 playoff wins. San Francisco has 39. If they can win, they hit 40 for the only NFL team to ever do that. They're only the 15th team in history to go from a losing season to the Super Bowl if they were to win this game. And the Broncos have, Bo Nix, not only their quarterback leader on the field, but I think he's their emotional leader as well. I think the Denver Broncos defense is very good, but I think the Patriots defense is equally as good, if not better. And because if the Patriots are winning 35-28 all year, that'd be great. It'd be different to me, but they've been winning. Their defense is really good. And I don't think a backup quarterback with 5 starts in his career, not in the playoffs, in spite of Sean Payton's genius, is enough to beat the Patriots. So I'm going with New England, and I think they win this game in a fairly low-scoring game, 23-17.
Okay, I got it. So we're up against each other on this one, both games, and I can't wait till the ball games this Sunday. Yeah,
Me neither. I think it'll be fun to watch. We need to circle back on our next episode and catch up on the coaching carousel. There's been some head coaching jobs have been filled, coordinator jobs have been filled. Let's give it a few more days and see what else happens, and then we'll talk about that on our next show.
you
And of
got it.
course, follow up on these NFL games. Now that the CFP is over, it's all focused on the NFL. So
Yep.
looking forward to this weekend and these games as well.
And much more time to talk about all the other sports, basketball, hockey, everything.
Yep, a lot to catch up on. NHL is in full swing. So we'll talk about it because that's what we do. We talk about sports just like real fans do. So that's it for this episode of the Undrafted Armchair Quarterbacks with Jim and Joe. Thanks for checking us out and hanging with us for some real fan-driven sports talk.
And we love your comments, especially TC, who made a comment complimenting you, Joe, about the window for a quarterback to hit a target on their throws is the size of a Home Depot bucket. He loved that. He loved that analysis. And we'll read your comments every show. Yep, TC. Yep. Drop your comments below. We'll read them and feature them in future episodes. Be sure to like, subscribe, and catch us every week for free on YouTube. Listen on Spotify and catch us wherever you listen. Instagram, TikTok, the list goes on. But thanks for joining us.
Love it. Have a good one, my friend, and we will talk soon. And good luck this weekend. Let's check out some football. Take care.
You got it. Thank you, Joe. Have a good one.